This is a tombstone that I built. It's just a 4x8 sheet of styrofoam that you can get from Home Depot or Lowe's. I designed it, the shape of the tombstone, and then you can see I cut it out with a jigsaw. Here you can see the marks on the tombstone where I tried to make the circle. It's a bunch of trial and error, and ended up eventually just using a kitchen plate to make the circle. Between the jigsaw and the Dremel tool that I used, it created a lot of little styrofoam balls everywhere, and not only my garage, but I was covered with this stuff. Here's where I found a couple of small skeletons and just glued them to the styrofoam. And then this is the finished tombstone. The first coating of paint that I used was a water sealant, something you'd use in your basement, I suppose. And that gave it a good coating and protected it from the weather too while I was outside. Then just experimented with some gray and black paint and just kind of had at it. You can buy these fake hands and fake feet and arms and whatnot. And I had an idea to use a meat cleaver and sever some of the fingers on a hand that I had. So I did that, and I made a little prop, and actually found some fingers. And so there'll be a finished view of this later on, but that's my severed fingers. This is a prop that I made. I had an idea to have a skeleton turning over an open fire, like perhaps you're cooking a pig over a flame or something. And so this is the prop that I made. Just it's a PVC bar that I've attached the skeleton to, and then just some wood on either side to hold it up. The hard part was to get some kind of motor or something to turn the skeleton around. And I looked online and some of the Halloween prop places for motors and gears and devices, and they were all expensive. But I had a friend tell me to simply take the rotisserie off of my grill. And so indeed that's what I did. I used the grill rotisserie, and it turned at a very slow, even rate. And so this prop turned out really well. You can also see in the background to the left there the drop window that I made. And there's various YouTube videos on how to make that. But that was one of the best props of the night. That I would certainly recommend making one of those. I saw a picture of a scary looking scarecrow on Pinterest and thought to myself, I can do that. So indeed that's what I did. Basically it's just a lot of sticks and woods that you'd find out in the woods. And I took a coat, which was actually a white coat, and just spray painted it brown and black and made it look real old, and cut the arms and the bottoms of it to make it look tattered. I then got a styrofoam head, like the kind you'd find at a wig store or something, and I made the skull out of that styrofoam head. I wrapped it in burlap and then kind of painted it. And it really didn't take too much time or effort. Like I said, just sticks and woods, and kind of secured them to the frame. Here's a final picture of the scarecrow out in my yard, and I added some additional material at the bottom of the coat to make it flow a little bit more in the wind outside. But indeed, it was a creepy scarecrow, very scary looking. This is an inside look at my garage. I made a maze that you go through in my garage. On the left-hand side of the picture here, you can see that where I've got kind of some walls, and I got some walls put up, and I used landscape fabric as a basis for the walls. Just you can see in the background some other props and boxes and things. In the middle of the picture there on the floor, you can see a blue bucket. Last year the 2x4s, the wood that I used for the foundation of the walls, was kind of unstable. And so this year what I did was took a 5-gallon bucket, put a 2-inch PVC in it, and filled the bottom of that bucket perhaps a quarter with concrete. Later on I then filled the rest of the bucket up with water, and so that formed a very heavy foundation And then what I did was I ripped a 2x4 and then put that ripped piece inside the 2-inch PVC. That then gave me something to attach the landscape fabric to. So I thought that was a good idea, and it worked out really good. This was one wall that I painted. I just used fluorescent paint, and they had a spray can of it at Lowe's or Home Depot. When I first painted the fabric, the fluorescent paint wouldn't really stick, wouldn't really show up. The fabric just soaked it in. Then I used primer paint that you paint your walls with in your home. I painted that first and then sprayed the fluorescent paint on top of that, and that really did the trick. Under a black light, the fluorescent paint really shows up good. Here's a picture of a guillotine that I made. I just saw a picture of it on the internet and kind of copied it. I used just tin foil for the blade, give it kind of a shiny silver look. I thought a neat effect that I used was I added
These are just some
pictures of blood on my house
where the guy's head would be chopped off. On
some of the larger tombstones I made, the smaller ones are just
that
store
turned out
bought.
really good effect.
And
Then I actually liked that so much, I added some more blood on the
One
blade.
interesting thing is I did make that
that part's
fence,
not on this picture.
and
but I
just
did
made
do
it
that.
out of styrofoam and just cut out different shapes and things. Initially, I glued it onto the wooden posts, but then when I tried to hammer the fence into the ground, every one of the fence pickets fell off, and so I had to go back and screw them all in. So, if you ever do a fence, I'd recommend screwing it in and not using glue. I thought a neat effect that I did was actually used an old fire pit that I had and put it in the front yard, and just got some fire logs and had a real fire going in the front yard on Halloween night. I also had some speakers outside with some Halloween sounds too. And then the front bay window there, that's where I had my hologram set up, and the front yard looked real good. This is just a plain mask that I had, and I brought it to life by I took some ping pong balls and cut them in half, and painted the inside black, cut a small hole in the back of the ping pong ball, and put an $8 LED light in there. Here I've turned the light out, and you can see the eyes kind of light up. Really brought the mask to life. It was a good effect. Here's a picture of my wife the night before getting ready. She was going to be a scary doll. Turned out to be real good. She did a good job doing her makeup. This is me. I did the same thing with my mask that I did with the vampire mask in the earlier clip, and then I secured some LED lights in there. Really made it look cool, and surprisingly I could see. So that turned out real good. These are some friends of mine, Susan and Jeff. Susan dressed as an old lady there, and she had a baby in her hand, and the baby was a real demon face, ghoulish face, and would scare the kids. Jeff had a chainsaw above him, and he'd come out from a gate and scare kids. This is my wife and friend Tammy, all dressed up. There's Todd and my wife Beth, and Tammy again in another picture. Jeff had a good job. I made a drop window there, and this was kind of in a dark area, black light on there so that get out would come, but I mounted a strobe light on the inside, on the back side of that drop window, so that when it was shut, of course you couldn't see it, and then when it opened, not only did he jump out and scare kids, but the drop light, or the strobe light kind of was flashing. And, I thought it was a really good effect. This is my son Zach in the middle with a Jason mask, and his girlfriend Allison. They were a creepy couple, and that was their friend Dane. It's Tammy and Susan. That's the little baby. One side of the baby's face was normal. The other side was all ghoulish looking. Just a kind of prop I had setting up in the background. This is the finished photo of all of us that night, just from left to right. One of the funny things is Mark, the guy on the far left without a mask. I built a feature that it was kind of perhaps 8 feet off the ground, and people had to walk under it. And Mark had this little ghoulish demon that he would drop down from above people, and that really startled him. Nobody expected something to come out from above them. But I'd like to thank everyone here. There was about 14 or 15 of us, and it was a good time had by all, and it was a good night. Here's a photo a neighbor took of my yard with kind of the line of people outside waiting. We had a line most of the night, actually. It was very fun. You can see in my front bay window there too, the hologram kind of lit up. It was a really good effect. Here's just some Facebook type comments that were posted. It seemed that a lot of people really liked the haunted house.
Alright, so here's my haunted house. This is the front yard, the graveyard, I guess. Kind of get a overview of it. It's the front entrance to where you go in the haunted house. And get a little closer, but I made the little fence out of styrofoam and put it up, and I made the scarecrow out. I saw it online, and just some sticks and things. It looks pretty creepy. That's a fire pit, so I'm going to have a real fire going tonight. As you can tell, I made these tombstones. So that's the outside graveyard. This is my front garage. I got a guy there that had his head chopped off by the garage door. Looks pretty good. So again, there's the scarecrow and just the back side of the graveyard. And you walk up to the front door, the front entrance. Some signs and a door knocker and all this kind of stuff. Come in, let me shut the door. And so this is the inside that you'll see when you come in. Things aren't lit up now, of course, but he lights up and the little skull lights up. And so does the bat. The spider drops down from the ceiling. This, I've got a lot of black lights on and strobe lights and things, and so scary stuff. Kind of these hands, you can get those inexpensively, and I had the idea, I chopped a couple of the fingers off of a hand and then found some fingers. That was a good little display. The black light really makes that skull and the baby stand out. And then I've got the hand, of course, that strikes people as they walk by. I kind of built that out a little bit so it would get them a little better. So as they're walking down, you've got body bags that you can see, of course, and this guy crawls on the ground at you. That's my fog machine right there, the one on the ground, so his head will move and eyes light up and shoots fog out. But as you can see, there's a creepy guy, and so I'm thinking that people are going to be focusing further down the hallway as they walk by this guy. They're not going to know it, but right before the guy is somebody in a box, and so he's going to grab them and scare them to death. So just more body bags and skulls that light up. There's my big animated prop over there, so his head moves and he lights up and says things, and more bats and scary things. There's a mask I put in a jar, it's kind of funny. My little dog jumps out at you. So, and then from here, I guess I'll show you the back side real quick with just chains and things. So from here, we're going to go down into my courtyard area. And that's going to be a little flaming cauldron thing and my little double-headed evil baby. Right there, I've got an old lady mask, and I've got a friend who's going to dress as an old woman in a house coat and slippers or something. And she's got a little baby prop, and she's going to be crying, "Oh, what happened to my baby?" And then she's going to turn the baby's head around so the people can see it. And of course, it's a demon-faced baby. She also might say, beware the clown." And as you travel further on down, well, the wind's kind of pulled him sideways, but let's see if I can turn him around. As people come further down, he lights up, of course. They're going to think it's that clown that we need to beware of. So he's kind of spooky looking. So they're thinking it's him, and they're gonna, oh, well, nothing really happened there. And then as they get a little closer, out from this fence is going to be the real clown they need to be aware of. So it's going to be one of my actor friends in full clown outfit, scary clown mask with a top hat, with a chainsaw over his head, and he's going to be running out at the people here. So I think that's going to be a scary thing. This is a neat little area. I bought a lightning sound effects machine or whatever. And so as the thunder and lightning go off, the machine's actually over here. And I've got lights shining up into all these trees. And so as the thunder and lightning go off, each light goes off independently, and it really makes the trees shine real bright, and it's a really cool effect. I think I'm going to have my son and his girlfriend here, and she's going to be laying on the ground, writhing in pain and screaming, and he's got this Jason mask and overcoat, and he's going to be stabbing her with a knife. We'll see how that goes. Of course, some more spider webs and head on a stake. This is what I call the gates of hell. I made these little bar gate things out of PVC and painted them black. Neat little effect. So you have to come into here, and as you're coming in, of course, you're going to see my fire pit will be lit up. And I got a skeleton on like a rotisserie thing there, so he's going to be slowly turning over the fire. And I was contemplating on how to get a motor, buy a motor to do that, but I took the rotisserie motor off my grill. I'll just show you that. The snake just struck me. But that's the motor off my grill, so that's what's going to turn him. And so that's a really cool effect. Just some other... The scarecrow, of course, he lights up, and the snake keeps getting me. The scarecrow lights up, and he talks and everything. People keep coming around. Gargoyle, his eyes go, and his wings flap. Ooh, scary little clown. This woman's going to be facing us, but I've got it kind of turned so I can get in and out, but she's pretty spooky. Then a little sign. Then you're going to come into my garage. And I'm going to stop it now and turn off my radio, and we'll come back. Okay, so here we are again. You come in, and the first thing you're going to see is this animated witch. And she, when she's on, of course, her eyes light up. She speaks, and she actually rises up and down. So they're going to see that when they first walk in. Then this is my Dracula guy that I made. So he's kind of stationary prop, but it's just a Dracula mask. I don't know if you can see it, but I bought these little $8 LED lights. I don't know if you can see it right in there. But anyway, I said, how can I make that light shine up for his eyes? So I cut a ping pong ball in half, painted the inside of it black, cut a small hole in the back of the ping pong ball, put that LED light through it, and then affixed it to the mask. So his eyes really shine at night. It's a really good effect. Spider webs look real good. So like I said, when you come in, you pass the witch, past the Dracula, and oh my gosh, at the end of the hall there is the upside down girl, of course. I've got a black light shining on her, and it looks really good. I've also got a black light, a 48-inch tube light shining on this wall here. As you can see, I painted in fluorescent paint, Get Out, and it's kind of, what I learned was just painting it with fluorescent paint on this. This is landscape fabric, weed fabric, and I bought a big I don't know, 300-yard roll of it for about $200. But if you just spray fluorescent paint on this stuff, it really doesn't do anything. So I took some primer, like wall primer, and that's what it looks like. And then I painted the words "Get Out," and then I painted that once it dried with the fluorescent paint. And so the fluorescent paint stuck to the primer, and that looks really good. And then of course I just splattered a bunch of splatter marks, but that black light really, there it is back there, really makes it stand out at night. It's really cool effect. And there's the upside down exorcist girl, looks like to me. Little spiders on the wall. And they turn the corner. And it's a little dark to see, but there's a guy in there, and he's I've got him affixed to a chair, and he lights up and goes back and forth and shakes, and he's obviously being electrocuted. He shakes real violently. That's a good little prop. I made a little room for him in there. See his little window. And as you turn around, the skull there lights up, and there's the guy in there. So his arms light up too. But as you keep walking around, that skull lights up and his eyes light up. He's kind of scary. And I built this thing up there, and you have to kind of duck to get through it. But there's a guy right there as you're coming through. He lights up, and a prop over there, and there's another little fluorescent paint thing I painted. It's real bright. So people are going to be focusing on these other things directly ahead of me. What they don't know is I'm going to do a 180 and kind of turn around. Is above them, I've built this thing, and I'm going to have a friend of mine up there, and he's going to drop that mask and arms things from above down onto people. So that's going to be a scary effect. I built this whole thing out of wood and stuff, this whole structure to support the guy up there, of course, but I don't think anybody's going to expect someone from above dropping down on them. I think that's going to be great. So you keep walking, and this is, of course, he's got a black light shining on that. It looks really good. That's another prop. That one doesn't do anything. Here's some more. It says "Get Out." Now it's hard to see, but that's black lit, so that shines up. And as you go down this hallway, that thing lights up. A little picture on the wall. More fluorescent things. Help and handprints. But right here, hard to tell, is a drop window. So maybe I'll get somebody to show that in action later, but nobody is going to expect that because they've got all this busyness going around. They're going to turn the corner, and then they start to focus on these other things, and bam, that's the drop window. That's going to get somebody. Another hallway here, and there's a ghoul at the end. He lights up, and walking down this hall. Oh, and I forgot to say, this is when you walk down this hall, you're going to turn left, and there's another animated prop of mine. His wings flap, and he lights up. I've got actually a black light shining on him too. A lot of the black lights, some are not bright enough, some are too bright. This one was too bright, and so I put this box around it so that the beam's really focused, and the beam doesn't spread to other areas of the maze here that I didn't want. And then I put some netting in front of that just to dim or tone down the brightness of the LED light. I'm going to open this wall real quick. And that wall is where the witch was and the coffin. So somebody's going to be standing in this kind of void area. As you can see, I've got an air compressor. And after they go through past, I forgot to say, but when they pass the coffin, when you first walk in, the person in there is going to spray him with the air compressor. I think that's going to startle some people, so that's going to be cool. This is the room I'm most proud of. This is the chamber of death, as I call it, but you have to come through here, and there's, of course, a mean-looking bat. He lights up, and people are going to see this kind of scary tree thing I made is, that's got some black lights. There's a couple black light tubes down there. But as you're walking in, this guy's, let's see if I can make him maybe move a little bit. But so he's hanging, and the first thing you're gonna see is my guillotine. Oh my gosh, here's a guy's head chopped off, but there's the guillotine. As you come further in, my hung guy, he's cool. This skeleton right there. Meat hooks everywhere and hands and things. The guillotine's cool. I just saw it online and kind of copied it. It really didn't take too much. The blade I just made out of tin foil. I got to thinking when I made it, I said, you know what? Other guillotines I've seen were just kind of plain. But I said, I'm going to put some blood on it. So I made some blood drip down. That was real cool. And I said, well, maybe some splatter marks on the top. And then I said, well, there's got to be blood on the blade too. So I put some on there. That's a good effect. Once his head was chopped off, it looked kind of dull, and I wanted his brains or I guess his spinal cord and guts, I don't know what it is, to kind of hang out. So I made that out of the stuff, that construction material that kind of solidifies. And then I had some fluorescent paint left over, but it was pink, which is kind of the lighter colors there. And that didn't look good. So I had a little bit of red paint left, darker red paint, and that's what I splotched it on there. And I said, well, that looks pretty good. But I got to tell you, it was when I put a black light on it by mistake, this lit up and it really looks gory. That is a good effect that happened just by chance. So I kind of like that. Of course, you got to have bugs and rats and spiders and things all around. Kind of looking back where we just came in, this guy's going to be hanging there. Got a black light shining on him. There's a black light and there's another one. What else? Some things on the back wall over there, and my skinned guy. I'm going to maybe have him turning around a little bit. I had to Google how to make a hangman's noose. That was an adventure, but it certainly looks real good. More meat hooks and things. That's one of my LED lights I got shining on the guy. That's a little, underneath here is a little projector thing. And so he's going to project an image on the kind of wall there, this kind of ghoulish face. It's kind of an apparition. It's a really neat effect. Some more stuff on the ground. Oh, dead rat. He's pretty cool. So this is the spider room, and I think I'm going to be here at the haunt. I'm dressed up as zombie, but I'm going to say, beware the spider webs. And of course, when people come in, this spider here jumps out at you, and you come in and turn the corner, just a bunch of spiders. That spider right there jumps out at you too. I got a strobe light to kind of disorient people. But behind that wall there, I've got a buddy that's bought a case of silly string, and so he's going to be behind there. And as people come in here with the spiders, he's going to spray them with the silly string, like a spider web, of course. So I think that's an interesting effect. Ought to be good. So as you continue to walk down the next hallway, you got these, of course, scary images type things, paintings on the wall. I guess there we go. Anyway, there's a few of those, and you're coming around. Got a light that I need to hook up here in a minute, but a little light kind of shining on this area, and a headless woman there. Of course, she talks and everything. Then I have a buddy as they walk through.
I loved him so much. How was I to know?
So, yeah, I'm gonna have a buddy here. This is the I got a 3-car garage. This is a smaller garage door, and this is where they exit from. Just when they think they're safe and going to be exiting, I'm gonna have a buddy here, and he's got this horrific mask. He's gonna jump out and scare them. And of course, this garage door will be open. I've got more of the landscape fabric on the out. It's a windy day, so I've got the door shut, but the landscape fabric's already hung there, and I'll put some slits in it so that people can leave. And just real quick, this is actually, probably can't see anything, but I got a little door in here, and I'm gonna come in real quick. And This is the drop window. So this is the back side of it. And I've got a chair here for the person to sit. There's my little latch, and I'll go ahead and drop it now. And so that, of course, you may remember that pain, but that's going to be scary. That's definitely going to get some people. Well, that's my haunt. Okay, so hope you guys can see it, but this is the outside of my graveyard. You can see the window there. Got a projector on the inside. Ooh, and there's a scary ghoul thing. I can blow it up a little. So there's like a hologram of a hallway. And every now and then, ooh, a ghoul appears. So that's what people are going to see as they're outside here. This is my graveyard. You probably can't see it at night, but it's tombstones and big scarecrow. I made a bunch of tombstones. That's a real fire pit. So there's a real fire going on. Scary pumpkins and things. Spider webs. And a side view of the graveyard. This is again, it's hard to see, but a guy his head got crushed by the garage door. The sound going off out here. I hope you can hear that. The entryway, they're going to come in here, come inside, and again, it's dark. It's kind of a lighting up some scary things. His fingers chopped off, and I got a black light shining on some skulls and a hand. This hand actually strikes out at you. Lots of ghoulish. There's a big ghouly thing at the end there. As people are walking down here, there's a box right there that somebody jumps out at you and grabs your like your calves or something. We keep walking. That's my big scarecrow guy. He's animatron. He kind of moves and does stuff. Then you come out into the courtyard. I bought a lightning machine, so every time it's just a sound of thunder and lightning, and every time it does, the lights go off at different times. So it's a really cool effect out here. Here's going to be a old lady, and she's going to be having a baby, and she's going to be crying, "What's wrong with my baby?" And when she turns the baby's head, it's a real demon-looking head, scary baby. She's also going to say, "Beware the clown." So as you're walking on further, sure enough, there's the scary clown. And then as people are kind of coming around looking further, oh my gosh, unbeknownst to them, there's my gate over there. I'm going to have a guy in a full clown outfit, scary clown mask and top hat, waving a chainsaw, charging out at him. It's going to scare the bejugas out of him. So that's going to be fun. This is a scary thing in the background there. Beth did a lot of the spider webs and things. You'll make a lot more sense in the daytime, I guess. But more spider webs, and you're coming around. This is kind of the gates of hell that I call it, but I made some gates. There we go, that's a good one. See the lights come on with the thunder and stuff. Really cool effect. But so I made these gates out of PVC, and there's a little lock. I don't know if you can see it. As you're walking in, there's my fire pit going off. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a skeleton turning over and over the fire pit. I was wondering what to do about that, and I took the rotisserie motor off my grill, and put it on there. So that skeleton kind of turns and turns real slow. Really cool effect. They keep walking. Had to build ramps and things. A lot of the stuff sound activated. So here's a gargoyle. He's flapping and doing his thing. Keep walking down the hallway. This, again, it's hard, but there's a couple props. There's a woman prop I'm looking right at. Probably hard to see. You turn into my garage, and here's a little witch, and she's a riser, so she starts out real low to the ground, but she slowly rises a couple feet up in the air. This is my Dracula. It doesn't move, but it's a mask, a Dracula mask, and I cut a ping pong ball in half, painted the inside of it black, put some $8 LED lights through the back end of it, and then I use that for his eyes, and it just runs off of a 9-volt battery. Put some fluorescent paint, and that one says "Get Out." Probably hard to see, but with the black light on the ground, that's a cool effect. At the end of the hall there is this upside down woman. So she's upside down, her head goes sideways, pretty scary effect. So that's pretty cool. Then when you turn the corner, let's do this again. As you turn the corner, I've got a guy in this little room, and he's being electrocuted. That's a really cool effect. And as you keep going around, there's things to look at. See this guy there? See if I can. She goes straight ahead. But anyway, there's more things to be looking at straight ahead. That's something I painted. But right now, where I'm standing, there's a guy above me. I'm going to kind of turn around, and I don't know if we can see it, but above me is where I've got a guy, an actor, going to be, and he's got this monster, and he's going to be pointing it downward, upside down at you. So that's going to terrify some people. Nobody's going to expect that coming from above them. And they make a little turn here, and right to my, this is all lit up, but you can see it here. But I've got a drop window to my left, and that drop window is scary. Let's see if I can. Yeah, so that guy's, he's on the walls. People are going to be noticing these things on the wall, and there's graffiti and stuff. They're going to be focusing on that, not knowing the drop window's about to come down on them. Further down the hallway is, again, there's some fluorescent paint. I've got help and some handprints, and let's see if I can get him going. So there's a guy carrying somebody's, there he is. He's kind of cool. Turning around. There's a big Grim Reaper guy right there. Well, he ain't coming on. Anyway, there you can see him kind of good. This is the Chamber of Death. Oh, there you go. Oh my God, his little sensor went off, but he lights up and does stuff. His wings move. Here's the Chamber of Death. There's a guillotine. Skeletons hanging. There's my guy on a noose. This is a very scary, decapitated heads on the ground. That's the nub of the guy that's just been guillotined. I put fluorescent paint and then red paint on top of that, and gives I've got some black light on it now, and it just gives a cool effect. It looks really good with the fluorescent paint. So just things hanging, and meat hooks, and webs, and hands, and down over there is a little hologram machine that I got. That looks pretty cool. And I'm going to be in here. Here's where I'm going to be. It's another skeleton, another guy hanging by a noose. Coming up on the spider room, probably hard to see. Tons of spiders there. A bunch of them jump out at you and things. In the spider room, the spiders up in the air. A couple of these spiders jump out at you. There's also going to be an actor behind there that I bought a case of silly string, so he's going to be shooting that silly string out, thinking it's spider web, of course. And as we continue on down the hallway, there's these hologram pictures that turn from a normal person to an evil person. Let me see if I can get this. There's a headless woman at the end of the hall and gory things and nets. And I'm going to have an actor just to the left of there scaring people. And then and there's the garage where people will exit. And so that's my haunt.
Here we are. It says we're going through. Alright, ready? Come on, you go first. If they see me, they're gonna think it's a kid. You video.
Okay, come on, baby.
What's this good?